talk about spirit guides. It's a topic that everyone's probably heard of to a degree, may not fully understand what they are in their entirety, and can sometimes get a little bit confused about how complex spirit guides are and what they are and aren't. Now, spirit guides are energies, souls that have incarnated many times over. They may be a specialist in a particular field and therefore want to share that knowledge with souls that have a current incarnation, or they may be assigned a particular duty based on their soul evolution. Some are more evolved than others. Now, they are not angels. Whilst sometimes we do group them together, an angel has not ever been incarnated. It's never had taken a human form. And they work more with the divine source, God, whatever word you want to use, more with the energy and intention of the bigger picture linked to that energy stream. Whereas a spirit guide is really here to help in various forms the day-to-day journey of us. Now, we are assigned a main spirit guide before we incarnate. It's almost like our spiritual best friend. They stay with us through this whole incarnation and help us transition back. Now, we also, throughout this journey of this lifetime, will have other spirit guides that are with us for a long time, maybe assigned one particular role, or with us a short time. So it just varies depending on it. Now, they're grouped into structured and unstructured. Our unstructured, we'll cover those first just briefly. They're ones that you will have some kind of energetic, emotional bond with from this lifetime. So it will be your relatives or even pets will form into the unstructured. Whereas the structured spirit guides, you don't necessarily know them from this lifetime, and they will have more structured roles or purposes that they will guide you with. So within this, we need to just remember, I guess, when connecting with our spirit guides, to take some pressure off ourselves. When you're in some kind of spiritual group or development, there is a lot of pressure to know your main guide, to know their name and to see them. If you know that information, that is absolutely fantastic and good on you and brilliant. But if you don't, it's okay too, because it actually doesn't have any bearing on the work you will do with them. You don't need to know their name or know what they look like for the spirit guide to be committed to you. They have already made that commitment when you met, before you incarnated. So whilst you may not remember them in this incarnation, you do know them on a soul level, that you made that connection before you incarnated. So you need to give yourself a break if you actually are having trouble connecting with them in this human form. And just remember that it will make absolutely no difference at all for your work or your connection. So just give yourself a break, please. So now, if you do know what they look like, they may look like something that you will recognize or that would get your attention. So let me explain. If your spirit guide looks like a monk, what that means is they have taken that avatar when connecting with you, so you would recognize that there's something special. Because if they took an avatar of someone that you would just see down the street, it may confuse you and you not realize that they were something special. Now, they draw on a lifetime that they had here when choosing an avatar. Now, I use the word avatar because we need to remember they are energy in their purest form, but for us to understand and communicate with them based on how we are wired, we need to see them in something that we recognize, that won't scare us, or that may be familiar on some level. So they will go basically into their soul history and pick a time and an image that they looked like and draw on that when presenting to you. So it just also is worth noting that in this lifetime and this connection with this particular spirit guide, they may present a particular way. But when they move on to someone else in another incarnation, they may choose a different avatar. So we don't want to get fixated on what they look like, whilst I know people do all the time, because I sit in groups and hear how excited they are to have a spirit guide that presents a particular way. And I get it. It's exciting to think that your spirit guide might be some highly ascended master. But if yours doesn't look like that, it doesn't make them any less special, because they're special for you. Now, as I said, the spirit guides fall into lots of groups, and there's lots of different kinds of spirit guides. We've got our main one, but then we have others that are specialists in their field. And these fields include guardian spirit guides. These spirit guides are here to protect us. We have soul contracts, and in that soul contract is a time frame that we, and events that we have chosen that we can use as exit points of this incarnation. But if through free will we make other decisions and choose to exit our soul contract before we have met all the things that we agreed to, your guardian spirit guide can step in to stop that from happening. So they basically can save your life to stop you from exiting before your soul agreed that you would exit. So that's really cool. And you may have had an experience like that, because I know I have. If you have, share it. It's really quite exciting, and it is one of those profound moments in your life that you know something pretty special happened. We also have messenger guides. Now, these are the guides that quite often during readings, psychic readings, that the reader will use to communicate and translate the energetic language. Their job is also to help us when we are at a crossroad or making decisions about our life and our journey, and we may be choosing a particular path. They will organize and facilitate and maneuver, all kinds of things like that, to create those synchronicities that we experience, to show us the patterns, whether it be numbers or something else that will resonate with us, to get that message across to us as we are making decisions or maneuvering through those crossroads. We also have Gatekeeper guides. Now, these are really quite special, and we may not be aware of them as much as maybe some of the other guides, but they're great when you are doing astral travel or wanting to connect through other dimensions or portals, because they actually are the gatekeeper of that. They also can help us when we're transitioning as well, just to make sure everything goes to plan. So they're quite an excellent guide to become familiar with when you want to move into the work that is more of that astral, other realm, interdimensional space. So it's really quite exciting to spend some time exploring the guide that you've got assigned for that particular duty. Like I said, these guides they're specialists in their field. So you may not connect with them every day, but you'll connect with them for a particular purpose. We have other guides which are healing guides. Now, our healing and helper guides are there to help us when we have emotional issues that we need to work through, even physical, energetic things, so stress, pains, that type of thing. Now, there's subgroups within this, depending on whether we need physical healing or emotional healing as well. So if it's physical healing, it would be not unusual to expect that your guide that helps you during a physical ailment has had an incarnation as a specialist, a doctor, or even that type of field many times. And they will draw on those experiences that they developed and work through and the learnings they got during those incarnations to now guide people from the other side. We also have teacher guides. Once again, this is broken into two groups, whereas we have master teachers and spiritual teachers. Now they will help us through accessing our spiritual teachers, will help us as we walk a particular path, working our way through that and learning. They will have various types of archetypes that they will use as well within that. Whereas our teacher guides, our master teacher guides, they will even help us when we want to access past life, Akashic record information, that more experience. But one of the guides that I love the best is our joy guides, because I'm all about the fun. Now, our joy guides are really intelligent, light-hearted guides. They are here to make sure that we have balance between our family, recreation and work, and balance between manifesting and wanting our material objects, and just making sure that we don't focus too much on the material things and we still have that element of balance within that. Now, they can manifest as children or even animals to bring that joy into our life, because that is their job, to bring joy into us when we need it the most. Now, we also have what's called messenger or runner guides. Now, this is pretty much what you expect. Their job is to go and get messages and pass on prayers and wishes. Now, they don't pass on everything. For your prayer or wish to be passed on, it has to align to your soul contract and what you've agreed to, and that it's for your highest good and all those involved. But when all those boxes are ticked, they are the guys that do it for you. Now, lastly, we have animals. Now, the animals are, as I said, we've got structured and unstructured. So, our structured are our animal totems, which we may all know about. Now, these are intergenerational or even multi-life guides, and they're very powerful, and they are often used when we need the energy of that particular animal brought into our life, whatever the traits are. The other one that we have is our unstructured animal guide. Now, that are our pets. Now, these pets will be around us and guide us as we process the grief of losing them. They can manifest physically, so they are one of the guides that will manifest physically, and you'll see with your own eyes, whereas most of the others you won't. And they can show up as steam, a shadow, something from the corner of your eye, or even another pet, that your new pet may have exactly the same traits as your old pet. So that is possible. So, and as I touched on earlier, our other guide that we have, which is unstructured, is our ancestor guides. Now, our ancestor guides are our loved ones that have transitioned. Now, their main purpose, whilst they can see a little bit ahead, their main purpose is to help us with relationships of the living that they knew. So, helping us work through issues with family. They knew that family when they were here, and so they're going to guide us the best way to maneuver and work through any challenges, and to ensure that we stay on path as we should with them and as is planned. Now, the last one that you may not work with, but is worth knowing about, is the collective group guide. You may see this show up if you do any channeling or know of anyone that does any channeling. When they channel, they will quite often connect with a collective in a particular realm or dimension and pass on or access information that is for the greater good of the collective. Sometimes they will also, when using this type of guide and accessing this type of information, they can access just one guide, but more than not, it is a group of guides from a particular location. So, I hope this helps a little bit. What I'm going to do, I know there's a lot of information within this, is I will post a link where you can read through a bit more detail about guides. Also, if you feel inclined, please share any experiences you may have had connecting with guides, or if you've got any questions, by all means put them down, and someone other than me might want to answer them, and that's great. I invite you to do that. It's not just all about me. Or I can answer it, and we'll just work through and build on our knowledge base about guides.